It is a Saturday afternoon in late May. Your children have been playing in the backyard all morning. Your dog has been running through the grass since breakfast. You call them all in for lunch. You sit your youngest down on the kitchen counter to wash their hands, and you see it. A small dark spot behind the left ear. You look closer. Your stomach drops. It's a tick, embedded, already feeding. You pull it out the way you are supposed to, straight and steady with the tweezers, and you drop it in a jar of rubbing alcohol. Your child is fine. Probably. You do not know yet. You will spend the next 3 weeks watching for a bullseye rash, watching for fever, watching for the early signs of Lyme disease, of Rocky Mountain spotted fever, of any of the 14 diseases that ticks carry and transmit to humans and animals across this country. You go online that afternoon and look up tick control for your yard. The first result is a professional tick spray service, $120 per treatment. Recommended 3 times per season, $360 per summer to spray your yard with synthetic pyrethroids that the label says you should keep children and pets off of for 24 to 48 hours after application, the same yard your children play in every day. You are paying $360 to remove your family from their own yard so a company can spray it with chemicals the label itself says are not safe for the people you are trying to protect. Now walk with me to the back field behind our farmhouse in location. We have 40 acres, woods on the east side, meadow grass on the north, a creek through the lower pasture. Tick country. Our children have played on this property their entire lives. Our dogs run these fields every morning. In 40 years on this land, our family has never paid a tick control company a single dollar. What we have used costs $3 at the farm supply store. It is safe enough to put directly on your dog's coat, safe enough to spray on your child's clothing, safe enough to apply to the grass your infant crawls on tomorrow morning. And it works better than what the $120 service is spraying on your yard right now. I am Name. I farm in location, and I come from a long line of people who protected their families with what nature provided, not what the chemical industry sold them. Today, I'm walking you through the complete Amish tick control system. What it is, the real science of why it works, how to apply it across your property, how to treat your pets and your family, and the honest scope on what it does and does not do. By the end of this video, you will never pay $360 a summer to keep your family safe in their own yard. The active ingredient is cedar oil, specifically the essential oil extracted from the wood and bark of red cedar trees, Juniperus virginiana, the same cedar that has lined clothes chests and closets in American homes for 200 years. To repel moths and insects. Cedar oil's active compounds are cedrol and cedrene, sesquiterpene alcohols that occur naturally in cedar wood as the tree's own defense compounds against insects and fungal decay. These are not synthetic chemicals invented in a laboratory. Every piece of cedar wood you have ever smelled contains them. Here is what they do to ticks at the biological level. Ticks breathe through small openings in their exoskeleton, called spiracles. Cedar oil compounds, when they contact these spiracles, disrupt the octopamine receptors in the tick's nervous system. Octopamine is the invertebrate equivalent of adrenaline. It regulates heart rate, movement, and metabolic function in insects and arachnids. When cedar oil blocks these receptors, the tick's nervous system fails. Juvenile ticks and eggs are killed on contact. Adult ticks are powerfully repelled before contact ever happens. This mechanism is specific to invertebrates. Mammals do not have octopamine receptors. Our nervous systems run on adrenaline through an entirely different receptor pathway that cedar oil does not touch. This is the precise scientific reason cedar oil is lethal to ticks and harmless to the mammals around it. It is not that the dose is low enough to be safe. The biological target it attacks simply does not exist in humans, dogs, or cats. Compare that to synthetic pyrethroids, the active ingredient in most professional tick sprays. Pyrethroids affect sodium-ion channels in nerve cell membranes. Mammals have those same channels. The risk at typical application doses is considered low by regulators, but it is not zero, and it is not the same as a compound with no mammalian target at all. Ticks do not jump, fly, or drop from trees. Ticks quest. A tick climbs to the tip of a grass blade or low shrub, extends its front legs, and waits for a warm-blooded host to brush against it. It does not seek you out. It waits for you to come to it. This means ticks concentrate in specific zones. The transition between mowed lawn and taller grass, wood line edges where leaf litter accumulates, fence lines with overgrown vegetation, under low shrubs, leaf debris piles. Ticks do not live in the center of a sunny, well-mowed lawn. Open sun is too hot and dry for them. They need moisture and shade. This means effective tick control does not require treating your entire yard as one uniform surface. It requires treating the specific habitat zones. A targeted cedar oil application to these zones is more effective than broadcast spraying, costs a fraction of the amount, and removes any concern about chemical residue in the areas where your kids actually play. You will need 1 bottle of cedar oil spray concentrate, $2 to $4 at any farm supply or garden center, a pump garden sprayer for larger yards, or a spray bottle for smaller ones. Water for dilution. Rubber gloves. Step 1. Mow first. Cut your lawn to normal height before applying. Shorter grass lets the spray reach the soil surface where eggs and juvenile ticks live. Step 2. Identify your zones. Walk your property. Mark the woodline edges, fence lines, shrub bases, and any transition areas between mowed and unmowed grass. Step 3. Mix the spray. 1 ounce of concentrate per quart of water in your sprayer. Shake to combine. The mixture will look slightly milky. That is normal. Step 4. Apply to habitat zones. Spray the woodline edge, 2 to 3 feet into the woods and 2 to 3 feet out into the lawn. Spray fence lines at the base of vegetation. Spray under and around every shrub. Spray any leaf debris areas. Wet to visible dampness. You do not need to saturate. Step 5. Apply a perimeter line. After the habitat zones, spray a continuous line around the outer edge of your yard. This barrier intercepts ticks entering from neighboring woods or fields before they establish in your lawn. Step 6. Let it dry. Cedar oil dries in 30 to 60 minutes. Once dry, the area is immediately safe for children and pets. No waiting period, no chemical hazard. Reapply every 3 to 4 weeks through tick season, which peaks May through July, and again in September and October. In warm southern climates, monthly application year-round is appropriate. This is where the safety difference from synthetic treatments matters most. Commercial spot-on tick treatments and tick collars contain permethrin, fipronil, or imidacloprid. Permethrin in particular is highly toxic to cats, and dogs treated with it should avoid contact with household cats for 24 to 48 hours. Cedar oil applied to a dog's coat repels ticks with no toxicity to other pets and no restriction on contact with children afterward. Mix a more dilute solution for pets, 1/2 ounce of concentrate per quart of water. Spray your dog's coat before they go outside, focusing on the ears, collar area, belly, groin, between the toes, and base of the tail. The spots ticks prefer because the skin is thinner there. Rub it into the coat with your hands. For cats, use an even lighter dilution, 1/4 ounce per quart, applied with a cloth rather than a spray bottle, since many cats are stressed by sprays. Rub into the fur around the neck and tail base only. Avoid the face entirely. Reapply before outdoor time during peak season, and again after your dog gets wet, since cedar oil washes off with rain or bathing. Spray diluted cedar oil onto clothing before time in tick habitat. Focus on socks, pant cuffs, shirt sleeves, and the collar, the entry points ticks use to transfer from vegetation onto a person. Let it dry a few minutes before dressing. This is not a replacement for tick checks. Checking yourself and your children after outdoor time remains the single most effective personal safety practice, regardless of repellent. A tick removed within 24 hours of attachment has not had sufficient time to transmit Lyme disease in most cases. For skin, use a lighter dilution, 1/4 ounce per quart, applied with a cloth. Test a small patch on the inner arm first, especially for children with sensitive skin. Avoid the face. Do not apply to infants under 6 months. Keep them in covering clothing outdoors instead, and check thoroughly when they come in. Cedar oil works significantly better combined with habitat changes that cost nothing. Keep grass mowed to 3 inches or below during tick season. Dry, sunny lawn is hostile to tick survival. Remove leaf litter from yard edges and fence lines in spring and fall, since decomposing leaf piles are exactly the moist shade ticks need. Build a 3-foot wide barrier of dry wood chips or gravel between your lawn and any adjacent woods. Ticks avoid crossing dry, exposed material. Stack wood piles away from the house, since wood piles attract mice, which are the primary reservoir host for Lyme disease bacteria. Keep play equipment in sunny areas rather than shaded corners. My grandfather kept our yard tick-free for 40 years through short grass, clean fence lines, and a wood chip barrier along the wood edge alone. Cedar oil came later as reinforcement. Habitat management was always the foundation. Cedar oil kills on contact. Tick eggs, larvae, and nymphs sprayed directly die from octopamine disruption. Immature ticks are the most vulnerable because their spiracles are proportionally larger relative to their body size, so the compound penetrates faster. Adult ticks are powerfully repelled, but not always killed on a single contact. An adult that walks through freshly treated grass turns and moves away. An adult sprayed directly is killed. This is why treating habitat zones directly kills the source population, while the perimeter barrier repels adults entering from outside. Together they form a complete system. Cedar oil also repels and kills fleas, mosquitoes, ants, and mites through the same mechanism. So your yard treatment reduces overall insect pressure, not just ticks. I will not tell you cedar oil is a complete solution for every situation. It does not knock down a population as fast as synthetic pyrethroids. A professionally sprayed yard shows measurable reduction within 24 to 48 hours. A cedar oil yard shows significant reduction that's within 3 to 7 days as the population dies off and the barrier discourages new entry. If you have found multiple ticks on your family in the last 2 days, cedar oil is the right long-term fix, but it may not be fast enough as a standalone emergency response. It requires more frequent reapplication than synthetic products, every 3 to 4 weeks instead of every 4 to 8, since the natural compounds break down faster outdoors, especially after rain. It does not treat a tick that is already attached. Remove that mechanically with tweezers. Cedar oil is prevention, not treatment for an existing bite. It does not stop migration from a heavily wooded neighboring property. The perimeter barrier helps, but in areas of very high surrounding tick pressure, more frequent application may be needed. For households in high Lyme disease regions, the Northeast Corridor and the Upper Midwest especially, cedar oil is highly effective as part of a complete program that includes habitat work, tick checks, and appropriate veterinary guidance for pets. It is not a reason to skip that guidance. The professional tick spray industry generates over $1 billion annually in the United States. The business model depends on quarterly visits, household fear, and the assumption that professional chemical intervention is the only effective option. Cedar oil is not produced by tick spray companies. It comes from cedar distillers and farm supply distributors whose primary market has nothing to do with residential pest control. Nobody is knocking on your door selling a $3 bottle. Nobody is training technicians to apply it at $120 a visit. The industry's price exists not because cedar oil does not work, but because cedar oil cannot be built into a subscription service. You cannot charge $120 for something a homeowner applies themselves in 20 minutes for $3. The science of octopamine disruption has been in entomological literature since the 1990s. It has simply never had a marketing budget. Professional tick service, $120 per treatment, 3 treatments a season, $360 a summer, over 10 years, $3,600. Cedar oil concentrate, $3 to $5 a bottle, 2 bottles covers a full season, $6 to $10 a year. Over 10 years, $60 to $100. Savings over 10 years, $3,500 minimum, for an outcome research suggests is comparable when applied correctly. Add wood chip barrier material, $15 to $30 one time, lasting years. Total first-year investment in the full system, $25 to $40. Every year after, $6 to $10, against $360 every single summer forever. Walk your property today. Identify your habitat zones, wood line edges, fence lines, shrub bases, the transition between mowed and unmowed grass. Tomorrow, buy 1 bottle of cedar oil concentrate and a small pump sprayer, under $15 total. Mow first. Mix 1 ounce per quart. Spray every zone you identified, then the perimeter line. Let it dry 30 to 60 minutes. Let your children and your dog back outside. Next weekend, treat your dog's coat before they go out. Collar, belly, groin, ears, toes, tail base. Let it dry 2 minutes, then let them run. Reapply the yard in 3 to 4 weeks. Tell me in the comments below, how bad is the tick problem in your yard this year? And have you tried any natural method before this one? And if your family had a way of keeping ticks off livestock or children before chemical sprays existed, share the memory. Those old methods are exactly the knowledge that disappears when nobody writes it down. I read every single one. Next time I'm walking you through the Amish fix for cockroaches. 1 pantry item, 1 overnight application, the most stubborn household pest eliminated without a single chemical spray. Subscribe so you do not miss it. Until then, go to the farm supply store. Buy the $3 bottle. Spray the woodline edge. Spray the fence line. Spray under the shrubs. Let your children play in the yard tomorrow morning without counting down 48 hours on a chemical warning label. That is the Amish fix.